Communication. I wanted to talk about this topic because nowadays it's a very unique scenario in all of human history where we can communicate the absolute most to the most amount of people the fastest ever. We have the internet. We have this. Look, I'm holding a phone in my hands and just talking. I'm communicating. I can write, I can talk, I can make video, I can just like anything. And you can reach everyone with your message, with your communication. And the thing is, why wouldn't you? Why would you not use that? I encountered recently a person who was hesitant on using social media or FaceTime or something, and I'm like, why? You can use it to talk to people. You can use it to communicate with people instantly, anywhere, anytime you want, basically for free. What's the problem? What's the problem? Why not do that? Communication is one of the greatest things in human life. It is in a way, you can view it with the perspective that everything that humans do in relation to each other, in relationships, is communication. Everything that you speak, every movement you make, every idea you put across, every thought, everything you do is communicating something to someone else. It's all communication. All of human interaction, in a way, is communication. Just hanging out and having fun with someone, you communicate to cause that to happen. Creating a project or some business or some venture or some creation in the world with teamwork, it's communication. Finding love, having a relationship is communication. And basically everything can be accomplished via communication. And the unique thing is, that's always been done, I'll go to the unique thing later. That's always been done by face-to-face interaction or the written word. That's basically what we've had. You write the thing down and you read it, that's how you could communicate, or you go in person and talk. Then the phones came along, then the radio came along, and then you could do it much more long range. And now we have the internet, and you can freaking talk to people face-to-face, en masse, and record anything you want basically forever and distribute it everywhere for basically free. I mean, that's an incredible, incredible ability. And it has not caught on yet. It has not caught on what that means. And the greater the reach of that communication, the greater amount of people you can reach and the greater amount of just opportunity there is to change stuff, whether it is to make money, meet people, convince people, change the world. It's like, that's the tool right now available to you, and it works incredible. It doesn't matter what your message is, you can go and communicate to people right now. Now, I want to, give me 1 second. And this is the thing, what that amount of mass spread communication has done and the tech to support it, this here in my hand, this phone in my hand, this whatever you're watching it, in laptop, listening to it, or laptop, phone, whatever, you have the entirety of the sum of human knowledge in the palm of your hand, wherever you want it, at all times. All of the sum of human knowledge is on the internet, or it can be. That's crazy when you think about it. All communication in all of history is available to you basically for free, or at a very small fee, at all times. And that communication, that information passed around, will allow you to solve anything that you need, because that's what people have done. They've gone out into the world, figured something out, shared it, and now you have access to it. You have access to that information, and you can do it yourself. And it's available all the time. There's no excuse anymore for not knowing something because it's out there. The more difficult thing is figuring out how to find out that information, like researching it, what's true, what's false. But it's there. When in all of history it was not there, or getting that information was quite difficult or expensive. This is not a old phenomenon. This has maybe been around for maybe 10 years or so, maybe 2006. The origin of the social social media, the social networks, I would say, was the turning point. Social networks and high quality video streaming, those two specific ones, high quality video streaming, social networks, and very fast internet just in the air. Those were the big determining factors with communication. With those there, it's all available. Boom, in incredible stress. So it's very, very new. This form of communication is very, very new. I want to go over a little bit more, like what communication actually is. All it is just stating. Communication is just stating ideas, or no, sorry. Let me redefine it. Well, I'm communicating poorly. See, there's also quality of communication. Communication is presenting information to another person. That's it. It is portraying information to another person. And what the intent behind that is usually to share knowledge or to gain something or to convince. But the idea is just simple as that. So that means that and I think human beings are the only ones that do this, or to this degree, where we have language, we have the ability to write, the ability to like maintain information, like put it outside ourselves and store it. That's brilliant. The ability to write things down or record audio or record video and communicate that way, or communicate with people who are long gone, like all the people who wrote in books in the past or histories or what they've recorded. That's communication. And that is incredible to think about, when you can communicate to people after you're dead. You can communicate to people when you're not talking. And if you have something important to say, or it doesn't even matter if it's something important to say, if you want to say it, you can, to everyone on the internet at all times. Freaking hell, that's amazing. So this is the thing that we do to communicate. It's like we communicate for fun, to get things done, to love, to reproduce. You communicate to reproduce. You create life with communication. It's amazing. It's very valuable. It's very strong. We solve conflicts. We learn. We determine truth. We gain power. You can do evil. You can do that. You can communicate to gain power and do evil. That's possible too. It's a very powerful tool. You can save lives and you can do good. It's a tool, and an incredibly powerful tool for both good and evil. So it's like the good or the fun or whatever should have access to it. We share stories, learned experiences, make plans, create food, machines. All the great things in life come from human communication. And we have the ability to do that everywhere, with everyone. Use it. The hell? Why don't we? Because of like fear, anxiety. I'll get to that later. And why not maximize it? Why not maximize it? Why not really learn how to communicate well? I'll be the first to admit I am not used to communicating in this platform. I've consumed lots of communication, but I have not communicated directly in the form of monologue that well. So I'm using this, in a way, in my early stages to practice doing so. And the more I practice, the better I get. And then the message will be much clearer, much better, and more inspiring and have more impact. It's like, damn. And I'd rather just do this now, because I think I have an important message to share, and I do have an important message to share. And I would rather get that out poorly and then go back and make it better, because communication, there's like no limit to the amount that you can do. It's like first impression or marketing. But the idea is I'll keep communicating the message now, even though I'm not the greatest at it, and use it to learn. Just document my journey in becoming a better communicator and seeing how my message evolves. Might as well do that. There's no downside to it. So thank you for bearing with me in my early days of being a communicator. I'm just a young soul. So, and like these are the benefits that come with it. If you to use this tool of communication, it's like you find great people to communicate with and be with. That's essentially the greatest prize you can get in life is good relationships with people. And communicating with them by itself is a great activity. It's like fun to have one of those deep, amazing conversations, or to just do an activity together. Oh, it's so good. It's like the best. It's basically the best thing in life. And you can communicate to find those people. Use social media, use the internet, use your own mouth, use your own oompha. Use your own oomph to get that. It's so beneficial. And you can work with people to create things with. Businesses, projects, whatever. Teamwork. You find those people and then you work with them, you communicate with them, and you create good things in the world. And we need those things to live, to survive, to eat, to have all the luxuries, to make these damn phones. So we can communicate, make the tech and all that, and make money. It's great. Managing resources together, it ties in the same thing. It's like we need to manage resources, and communication helps us do so. Solve problems together on a grand scale. It's all tied together. It's like the better you communicate, and the more people you find who are also good communicators and have good skills, you can create great things together and solve amazing problems in the world via communication. And this phone, this internet is a great tool to do so. You can make money on a grand scale. Boom. It's so, oh my God. Money itself is a form of communication. It communicates value, and it's an idea, but that's a topic for another time, where it can also be viewed as communication. You're just communicating the value of something, and you're using it as a medium of exchange for something else. And the internet allows you to scale that to a precedent that has never occurred in all of history. You can sell information just as such. You can sell yourself. You can sell your fame. You can make money in any creative way you want online, as long as they have a way to send it to you, which is also a form of communication. It's all communication. And I think the coolest thing is you can communicate to find love. Love is great. It ties into the first thing, at least, like great relationships, people to love, people who love you. You can use your communication skills, writing, videos, audio, social media. You can use that to find love for free. It's amazing. The greatest expanse that you could. In my personal story, the internet, because of the things that I've learned, and then the events that I knew of, the things that I learned is like how to make money, how to communicate, how to travel around, just how to do these things, and then the information that these specific events were going on with the economic events and all that allowed me to find love, to find genuine love. It's like it worked for me. It gave me the greatest happiness in my life. This communication, this internet, the social media, the websites. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh, take advantage of it. Like, seriously, take advantage of it. It's like most of the good things in life can be achieved by communication. That's it. Just if that's the case, if it brings you that much joy and happiness and that much value, to learn it and to maximize the scope of your communication, it's a no-brainer. It's a great skill to pick up. And the better communicator you are, I think, just straight up, it's like, it's not one-to-one, but it's like, the better you communicate, the better your life will be in all realms. Now, I wanted to touch on, finally, for the last bit, things that get in the way of communication. I've noticed that there's a lot of things where it blunts or puts a barrier or an obstacle to communicating, and I don't like them. I think communication and open communication is such a benefit, such an upside with like no downside. To put things in the way of it really bugs me. And for instance, some things that get in the way of it are shyness. Shyness, anxiety, fear. That just blocks the open communication. Certain social norms, like that's impolite, or you shouldn't go up to talk to someone, or you can't say that. It's cutting off communication. It's cutting off genuine connection. That's awful. It's infuriating. It's like to cut off genuine communication, genuine connection with people. Why? It seems like a complete loss. Complete loss. So I think it's worth to get over those. There's also conformity, which is where you value conformity versus open communication and curiosity and honesty and the truth. I mean, I don't like that choice. There's benefits to that choice, but it ruins the genuineness. It ruins the relationships. It makes life worse, I would argue. And the final one that gets in the way is violence. Violence kills it completely. You can't be honest. You can't openly communicate when violence is involved. You can't, because if you do, if the downside of it is potential harm, you need to be either extremely brave, stupid, courageous, or just dumb to do that. That's why I care so much about taking violence out of the equation. It ruins basically everything in terms of human interactions. It completely ruins the incentives, and it's immoral, and it's just, no, get rid of it. And just the last bit that's like an absolute proof. Like, all communication has intent behind it. Since communication is a human action, it has an intended goal that it hopes to achieve. And that's just like a base fact. Like it's an axiom. Because someone's doing something, they're trying to achieve something. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Maybe they don't even know what they're trying to achieve, but they're trying to achieve something. And you can use that. That's a great way to explore more. You can use it to explore a conversation more in depth, to like go into it. It's like, well, why did you do that? Or I feel something strange about that. It's like I don't know about your intent behind that. And like it allows for an opportunity, just the knowing that there's an intent behind it, to go after that intent and to explore that intent. It's more conversation, and it might reveal some really important personal stuff in terms of self-knowledge and that person as a whole. And for more like detective work and being careful about whether you're being manipulated or not, knowing that there's an intended goal behind that communication, it can help you determine whether someone is being honest or something else, whether you're being lied to, whether you're being manipulated, or you're being BS'd to. You figure out the intent, and it's a good starting point. And it's quicker and more efficient than arguing the point itself, because there's a reason what they're doing it, and it's an option. You can either set up the conversation or the communication to determine the truth, or you can do it for something else. And if people are doing it to not determine the truth, you can communicate that, just knowing that there's an intent behind every form of communication. Dig into that if you want. It'll help you counter manipulation and find truth better, or if it's a nice thing, to find more areas to explore and help you out and help the other person out. And the last thing is, with this mass communication, it comes bad mass communication. People communicate falsehoods and BS, and it is an issue to filter truth from falsehood. Now that there's so much ability to communicate, there's a lot more junk and noise in the way. How do you determine what is true or not? How do you determine if this communication, if this information is valuable? Well, that's where critical thinking, first principles, logic, philosophy, knowing how to think properly, knowing how to trust, and wisdom, all these good things, where it's the methodology of how to determine truth, will help you filter that. Will help you filter whether it's good or bad information, whether it's true or false information. As usual, the solution is think for yourself. So take advantage of the social media, of this internet, of the phone. Don't hold back. There's no good reason to hold back on communicating. It's so much more beneficial to over-communicate than under-communicate. So that's what I would take with this. We have a great tool in our hand with the internet, with this form of mass communication that we can have. Use it to its fullest advantage to find a good life for you and to make the world a better place.